Hey, what's up everybody? Chad Calek here, and welcome back to the Incredible Room podcast, where we are going to talk about the entire planet going alien crazy right now. There's three major events that I want to talk to you guys about. The first, which will be the last thing I'm going to talk about, which is NASA's year-long findings. After a year of research, NASA came forward and gave their public presentation and debate. I shouldn't say debate, they took questions from a small audience. After giving their UAP findings, so we'll talk about that last. Secondly, the second thing I'm going to talk about, which I find very interesting, is this report of aliens attacking in Peru. Now, this happened a couple weeks ago, and I've actually continued to follow this story because I was truly fascinated with not only the reports, but also the explanation. And when we get to that, I'll tell you why. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Mexican congressional display of what is said to be alien bodies. I had no idea this was even coming. And when this happened, Jesus, my phone exploded. My email exploded. I had family members that I haven't even heard from, in a decade. Sending me emails and texting me, have you seen this? Is this real? Oh my God, have you seen the alien bodies? And at the time, I was actually in a physical therapy session, and I had no idea what they were talking about. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get home and check this out. So I come home, I hop online, and of course, it's everywhere. Everywhere. And I was blown away by just the headlines were, alien bodies unveiled in Mexican Congress. And there's a lot of things that I want to point out to all you guys right away about this. Because as exciting and as interesting and as cool as it would be to see actual extraterrestrial bodies, when I first saw the bodies, not only did I kind of laugh because they literally look exactly like, some kind of modern interpretation of ET, but shortly after I saw the footage of the bodies, I saw the man presenting it. His name is Jaime Maussan. Some people call him Jaime Maussan, but he goes by Jamie. He is a self-proclaimed ufologist. If you guys don't know who this man is, or if you haven't heard about this man, he is a long-time known hoaxer. He's done this several times before. He's done it with not only pictures and slides, claiming that he had slides of the aliens from Roswell, and later had to admit that they were not pictures from Roswell, that it was a photo of a mummified child. But the biggest thing that he did that he was outed for was, probably, I would say 3 or 4 years ago, he made headline news with his first kind of stunt, which he claimed that there were mummified alien remains that were found somewhere along the Nazca lines in Peru. And there was these images of these, they looked like the aliens, but they were large. Long 3 fingers, same thing again. But they had like their knees tucked up by their chest and their arms were wrapped around. And they were mummified again. And he claimed that he had doctors doing the same thing, the x-rays, the video, all that stuff. But these doctors did not allow anybody else to take a look at these remains, quote, remains. Well, eventually he was forced to have people look at these remains. And it was found that these things were just created out of plaster and partial human bones. By the way, if you hear some breathing and snoring and rustling around, Chapo is sitting by my side here on the couch, and he just woke up, so he's moving around right now. So yeah, Jamie Maussan, it just happened a number of times, and he also did a presentation just like this in Peru as well before, which never made the news because people immediately knew who he was, and I think it was just so close to his last hoax that no one kind of caught on. The climate wasn't right. And as someone who worked as a professional journalist for years, I can tell you that climate is everything when it comes to what stories you run, what stories make headlines, what stories you pursue. And of course, right now, aliens, UFOs, the climate is, at an all-time high as far as interest goes. So, if you were interested in the Mexican congressional story of the aliens, to sum it up, I think it's all 100% bullshit. I think it's complete crap. I think there's already been, he said a bunch of different colleges and universities and medical centers have endorsed the findings. And there's already been like 2 that came out and said, yeah, we were listed and we don't endorse this. We don't even know what this is. So like I said, he's done this. Having said that, sure, let the doctors crack into it. Let the scientists crack into it. I'm sure it won't take long for them to figure out that those are fake. The looks of them didn't automatically disqualify them for me. Although I did think, like I said, this looks just like a modern day interpretation of ET. Because I've always felt like if a gray is ever revealed, if they are in fact real, either our Hollywood grays that we see were created to look that way based on reports, or people have been influenced by Hollywood and believe that's what they look like. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. I wouldn't be shocked if someone rolled out a real alien gray at some point and it looked similar to that kind of build, but that just looked, it looked really, really close to like what a little small ET would look like. I'm talking about the movie ET, the actual alien. So, but yeah, the second I saw Jamie Maussan, I was like, oh no. So yeah, that wasn't a good step forward. I follow Ryan Graves as well, and he actually spoke down there, and he even put out a tweet basically just saying this was a ridiculous stunt. It really set us back, and I don't back any of it at all. So yeah, the Mexican ET bodies, that's a no-go for me, guys. As far as the alien attacks that are going on, or supposedly were reportedly happening in this Peruvian village, everything about this story is incredibly unique, including the local investigators' explanation for what is supposedly happening. Now, if you remember a couple weeks ago, there was headlines everywhere about how this village in Peru was supposedly being attacked by aliens. And there was footage of this village just running around like crazy, and everybody's panicking. And they've got guns and flashlights, and they're shining flashlights up in the trees and on top of buildings. And, you know, whatever was going on was freaking the hell out of this community. And they were convinced that these were aliens of some kind that were flying through the air and attacking them. Well, the local authorities reportedly came to the village and they investigated, and they said that, and get this, that it was not aliens, it was security for a local gold mine in which their security, they were flying around on like jetpacks, like either jetpacks or something that, you know, made them hover, which is hilarious because I guess supposedly they were the packs that go under your feet. You could ride these boards, which I've actually seen. These exist, these flight systems, I guess you can call it. You can go online, and if you search Gravity Industries, there's a couple companies that make these things, but supposedly the security for this gold mine were trying to scare this local community because people go to the gold mine and they try to steal gold. So their solution was to buy jetpacks that reportedly made these guys look like, you know, the Green Goblin straight out of Spider-Man. They made him appear almost 7 feet tall, and they were wearing masks. What's really bizarre is once that came out, the whole country kind of dropped the story. But I actually kept following the story through Google Translate and local papers in the area. And it's still going on, where they're still saying that no. In fact, that village made another video requesting help, saying the police never even came here. No one's investigated this. It's definitely not, you know, people in hovercraft or jetpacks. That these are creatures, and they've continued to release footage and photos of these events. Now, whenever you do something like this, every CGI artist in the world that, you know, loves hoaxes, they love to add footage to the news story. So it's almost impossible to tell what's real from what's not. But pretty much everything I've seen, you know, nothing can be verified. So it's not even worth even showing you guys. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but there was some video that was reportedly from that Las Vegas incident where the family said, you know, there's 9, 10-foot aliens in our backyard. And there was some new footage supposedly that clearly showed this crazy looking creature. And I could tell right away that it was CGI, but it was done really well. Really well. And a couple of newspapers picked it up and thought it was real and ran it. and it blew up on TikTok, and everybody thought, oh my God, there's actually footage of this crazy, hairy-looking alien from Las Vegas, and they were able to trace that actual piece of footage back to a TikTok account that literally had CGI in its name, the actual account. There's a lot of that going on with this Peruvian story. But what is mind-boggling to me is how crazy the explanation sounds. I don't know how rich Peruvian gold miners are. I mean, I'm assuming very wealthy. Gold mines obviously generate a lot of money. But the concept that you would be like, hey, I have an idea to make people stop trying to steal from us. I'm going to go out and buy you jetpacks or hovercraft that you're going to ride around on, and you're going to dress up like the Green Goblin, and you're going to go flying in the dead of night on these things. And what's crazy is, like, one of the cheapest that you can even buy, you know, these packs from like Gravity Industries, the cheapest pack that you can buy is like $330,000. So it's like, how many security guards do they have that are supposedly riding these things around? And to ride these things, it's not like you just, you know, throw these on and you're just ready to go. Like at Gravity Industries, like the guys who do the demos are the creators, the actual builders of the system. They were actually inspired by Iron Man. And they started it out as a joke to see if they could make a suit that would allow them to fly. And they just kept going until they nailed it and they realized, whoa, we have something. It actually has a lot of military application to it too, which they just signed a contract with the military. There's actually footage online of them doing military demonstrations for the U.S. Navy. And it's pretty mind-blowing what they can do with them. But it takes a lot of time and practice to learn how to fly these things. And I guess you have to be really fit, like seriously in shape. And your core muscles have to be incredibly strong to properly control these things. And they say right now that's one of the difficulties of these systems is that it takes a lot of training and you got to be really physically fit to operate them safely. So I don't know what is going on over there. It's like, is this a psyop, like, or what? When the explanation sounds just as wild as, you know, aliens attacking people, you know, for gold, which is kind of weird. So I don't think it's aliens, but I do think something weird is going on. I don't know that I buy that story either, that a gold mine just spent, you know, if they just bought a couple of them, you know, upwards of $1 million to have dudes fly around. I don't know. It just seems like a crazy story. But like I said, what's really strange is it's still going on. It's still going on right now. If you guys search, you'll see that there are more photos and more pictures and more videos and more reports, more news stories. The U.S. is just not picking up on it. And this has happened before in the sense that there are reports of aliens attacking, especially in Brazil. Really famous case in Brazil where alien craft were shooting these lights down and they were burning people. And there's medical reports from that. Really fascinating stuff. And the Brazilian government confirmed that it all happened. Yeah, that's a wild story. And what I find to be extremely ironic and made me laugh when I watched it is NASA's report, which NASA, who has employed 14 different astronauts I don't know if you guys know this or not, but 14 astronauts have claimed to see UFOs and unexplainable craft in space and on the moon. Gordon Cooper, Edgar Mitchell, Buzz Aldrin, the list goes on. Like 14 different astronauts have claimed, to see UFOs. Not to mention, there's a very famous guy in the UFO community that worked for NASA and was one of their guys that worked in their photography department. And this guy smuggled out a bunch of photos of the moon that had all kinds of buildings and structures and things on it, which I have a tendency to believe. And this guy worked for NASA. And he's like, yeah, these pictures are of structures. And he confirmed that NASA does blur things out. And that is true. NASA does do that. And if you ever watched the live feed, every time something really bizarre happens on the live feed, suddenly it goes down. And this is a constant thing that really does happen. This is not conspiracy shit. This truly happens all the time. After a year-long study, what do you think NASA has to report? Nothing to see here, folks. Which I thought was hilarious. In Mexico, they're showing these fake bodies and shit. In our Congress, we have pilots coming forward, intelligence officers, all these guys making huge claims. And you get to NASA, the one place that their own employees, the astronauts, and to the people that literally prepare their photos from NASA missions have already come forward saying, yes, these things exist. NASA says after a year-long study, there's absolutely nothing to suggest extraterrestrial life. Which, listen, I have always felt like 90% of the stuff, if not 95% of the stuff that you see on aliens and UFOs is fake. But there are very legitimate cases, very real cases that simply cannot be denied. And there's absolutely evidence out there that suggests something has been here, or what I have a tendency to believe, more than something has visited here, that something has always been here, which is more my belief. But NASA says, and I knew this was going to happen, guys. I knew it. The second they got in the game, I knew what it was about. And they pretty much said it in their press conference. They said, we have very little data. We just need more resources and more time. Which, what does that mean, everybody? They need more money. NASA wants more money. And what cracked me up is they also said that one of their primary ways that they're going to rely upon to collect more data was through smartphone applications of the general public, in which I will bet you anything, I will bet you that NASA is going to release an app that has some sort of expense to it. But they talked about the importance of cell phones and people recording, and it's like, well, of course, that's going to go on no matter what. And the problem is, if you have too many tentacles out, it becomes impossible to figure out what's real from what's not. And that's why I didn't understand. It's like, hold on, you need cell phones to snap photos at ground level when you are literally the eyes and ears of space, and your own employees who have ridden rockets to the moon, are telling you these things are there. Like, I don't believe NASA at all. I think NASA is just full of shit. I think they have always been full of shit. And look, I think there's some kind of battle is going on right now to get this out, or to hide it. And it seems to be going on everywhere. But if someone is in fact controlling, if there's some cabal that controls the world, like a lot of people think, they are disheveled and not together, man, because you got NASA saying nothing to see here. You got the Mexican Congress allowing Jamie Maussan to roll out, quote, alien bodies. In Peru, they're saying there's alien attacks, but no, they're not. They're dudes flying around on hovercraft. I mean, this is a wild time right now. This is a very wild time in our history. But yeah, I just thought, what a nothing burger the NASA report was. But I knew it would be. I knew at the end of the day they were going to say, we got nothing, and we need more data. We need more data. That's pretty much all they said is, we can't say that anything's extraterrestrial, but we can't say that it's not. And that's the hook. That's the hook for more money. It might be. We need some more money. It's all very frustrating. Especially because it's kind of like, I had the same frustration in the world of the paranormal with ghosts and stuff. There are so many hoaxers and fakers and so many people presenting fake footage and fake photos. And what's so frustrating about that is the great irony is that it is real. There are all kinds of strange, energy-related things that happen in the world that I've experienced, that I've filmed, that I know it's real. It's just, I think we're in the same place with UFOs where it just makes complete sense that either something's here or something has definitely found us. But the question, does remain, and it's the same question I've had for all these guys that come forward with this stuff, is where is the actual proof? Where is the proof? I'll tell you, I'll end with this. I'll tell you a really interesting story that you guys should look into. Just go online and Google the swimmers of Lake Baikal in Serbia. When Russia declassified all of their UFO files, there's a fascinating case where in Lake Baikal, which I believe is like the world's deepest lake, Russia had a team of divers. There was 7 of them. And they were doing something for the Russian government. Installing something, I forget what it was. But this is in their official files that they declassified. And they had 7 witnesses to it. And suddenly they reported that underwater, 9 beings, like massive humanoid beings, but they were huge, like 9 to 11 feet, they estimated, appeared in the water, and they were just wearing these like glowing caps, like over their heads. And they said they had silver suits on. And I love this next part of this report. It's so unapologetically human. Russians are just so bold. So these Russian divers decide, they look and they go, wow, that is freaky as hell. What are they doing? And they can't figure it out, but they're watching them the whole time. And the Russian divers decide, we're going to catch one. Let's go get one. I swear to God, this is in their actual declassified government files. So they try to swim over and grab and capture one of these, massive humanoid swimmers that they see. As they approach, these things get freaked out and they make some crazy type of sound and they let loose some energy wave, they said. And they were deep. They were like, I think, 50 feet underwater. And it launched all 7 of these Russian divers, this energy wave that they reported. It launched them all immediately to the surface of the water. So they swam over to kind of just grab and detain and grab, just capture this creature. And it launched all 7 of them to the surface, in which I think 3 or 4 of them, I can't remember the exact number, it was 3 or 4, died because of the bends. Nitrogen in their blood just exploded in their bed. They died. They literally died. I think if it was 4 of them died, and there was 3 remaining to tell the story of what happened. In which Russia reportedly was going to go back to Lake Baikal to look for these, and it was never made public what happened with the follow-up. But this is like a real story, which, as wild as that sounds, that doesn't sound that wild to me, in the sense that 95% of the water around the world, our oceans, lakes, are completely unexplored. And if there are things flying around right now that are truly not other governments, if it's not us, if it's not our tech, if there are things that are flying around that, because look, it's either us meaning humanity, or it's either, someone from outer space or someone who's been here all along. It's one of those 3, us, outer space, or been here. And I believe the most likely candidate is that they've been here all along. And I do believe that human beings, that human beings were seated on this planet, like something created us, that we are not naturally of this planet, that we were created. I can do a whole other podcast on 7 other reasons why I believe that. But for the sake of this one, and maybe we'll do that coming up, do a whole podcast on why I don't believe human beings are native to planet Earth. But yeah, that Lake Baikal story, check that out. The Lake Baikal swimmers. It's really fascinating stuff. But let me know what you guys think about all of this, about the Peruvian attacks. What is really going on over there? What do you think about what I believe is a complete hoax in Mexico with Jamie Maussan? And also, about NASA. Is NASA telling us the truth? They have nothing to suggest that anything could be extraterrestrial. And they just need more money and time to study it. Let me know what you guys think about that, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm slowly but surely getting back into my routine. I've had a ton of unexpected, it was actually an increase in the physical therapy that I'm doing due to some very good results. And I'll talk to you guys about it more in the future, about what's going on. But yeah, I've had just a shit ton more doctor's appointments than I thought, and more therapy. They actually doubled my physical therapy regimen, which is why it's been a little bit harder to keep the pace that I wanted with the podcast and the trailer that I'm working on with Harbingers, which very soon I'll have an announcement for you guys about it. And in the meantime, I just released a song yesterday that I wrote years ago called Behind Your Eyes. If you guys don't mind and you have time, give it a listen. Very haunting, spooky song that works really well for the film. And like I said, I will have more announcements about that very soon. In the meantime, if you have not subscribed yet, please do. Please click the like button. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I love hearing from you. And yeah, I will be back very soon with more. All the best.